welcome everyone to another episode of the Games Talk Live podcast. I'm your host, Jay Fonzarelli, and with me, as always, my good friend and co-host, Hargeet and I. How you doing, Hargeet? How you doing?
I'm good. Better than what's behind me here. Unfortunately, that game has not seen good times. Oh well. Unfortunately, they're not doing so well. We'll get into it.
Yep. Well, we'll get into that in a little while. First, I just want to announce that D-Batch is running a little bit late. Hopefully, he joins us in a little bit. Hopefully. D, are you out there? Can anybody find D? I talked to him earlier. He said he'd be here. He's not here yet, but the show must go on. And sorry for starting a little late. I was waiting on him for some kind of sign, but I didn't get one. Anyways, Hargeet, what have you been playing this week, my friend? What have you been doing?
I finished up ripping all my Blu-rays. I've been doing that the last couple of weeks, month, or whatever.
Oh, so you're putting it digital? Everything's digital now?
Yeah. It's all in it's available on the network, and then we have like players that can play. But I did finish.
Nice.
I did finish a game called Greed 2 Forbidden Experiments. That's basically all I've really played. But
Greed 2.
Hey, whatever. Yeah, it's a little puzzly game.
Is that on Game Pass?
No. It was on sale.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I figured it'd be a Game Pass game. For me, myself, so last week I beat Red Dead 2. I tried to get into, and I took a while before I got into it, okay? I was looking, so I had downloaded Star Wars Outlaws before the last episode, and I didn't even try it because it didn't interest me once I saw the reviews. Well, I got enough courage. I built up that courage, okay, and I wasn't drinking, didn't do anything, okay? I started the game, and I despise it. I think it sucks so bad. And if you like it out there, don't take offense to this. If you like it, that's great. I'm glad you do.
Wow.
But I think it is a horrible, horrible game on every level. And people will get mad at this.
Game.
Look, I love Ubisoft games, but this doesn't even feel Ubisoft to me. It just feels like jank. Here's my problem. My biggest pet peeve with the game. It's a stealth-based game. It's mostly stealth, but it doesn't even do that right. The stealth mechanics are lame. It can't even get the main mechanic right. And then as for the shooting, this is what really bothers me as well. The shooting in it feels off. And this is made by Massive. Massive made The Division 2, and the shooting in there is really good. What happened? Ubisoft, Massive, what happened? It is just and let me tell you, the character herself, Kay, in game, people are right. There's a lot of looks in situations where she looks fine, her character model is fine. I'm not even digging on that anymore. It's the game itself. It's the fact that she's not even a likable character. She's just, I don't know. I played through the prologue. I got into the open world, and the open world is dead. It's not alive. After coming from something like Red Dead Redemption 2, it's kind of hard to get into a game like this because the open worlds are distinctly different. You've got one that feels alive, fresh, and very detailed, and the other one that's drab, bland, and lifeless. And let me tell you about drab and bland. The color palette and everything they chose to use, I don't know why they like this washed out, I guess, cinematic look to it. I don't like that in my video games. I like punchy contrast and vibrant colors. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. And maybe I'm harping on it too much, but it just doesn't lend well to the aesthetic of the game. Overall, I will say it's not a very pretty game. And I'm running it on a 4090 max settings, and I don't even think it's very pretty at all. And one of the main reasons is that washed out look. It's not good. It's just not good, Hargeet.
Wow.
So if you were thinking about playing this, Hargeet, which I know you aren't, stay away. Just stay away. And certain people that I've talked to are saying the same thing. They're having a hard time getting into it. I put up a post about it, and people have responded saying, yeah, I kind of feel the same. I put it down because it just doesn't feel good. Nothing about it is like, nothing about it screams quality. And, you know, you can say what you want about Ubisoft games, but certain aspects of each game usually exude quality, whether it's graphics in Odyssey or even the level design in Odyssey and stuff that, you know, the game itself. I liked Odyssey a lot. Assassin's Creed Odyssey is probably one of my favorite Ubisoft games. I thought it was excellent. I also like some of the older Ghost Recons, not Breakpoint. I tried Breakpoint, didn't care for it. But yeah, this game is not good. Star Wars Outlaws, you know, it's sitting at like a 77 meta. I think it's probably should be about a 7 if I'm being objective here. Probably a 7. For my personal score, it's more like a 6. Okay, I don't care for it. I'm not going to play it. It's that bad. And thank God I didn't buy it. Oh man, if I would have spent $70 on this, I would have been pissed. I would have been mad. I would have been yelling at clouds.
That's why Ubisoft Plus is so good, right?
Yeah, that's exactly. So I get to try it.
Unsubscribe.
And that's exactly what I did with Breakpoint not too long ago. I got it on Ubisoft Plus, tried it, didn't care for it, got rid of it. Like it's that easy. It's that easy. Ripped, I'm talking about Star Wars Outlaws. I don't care for the game. I know there's some people out there who do dig it, and that's fine. That's you. More power to you. I'm not going to say you're wrong if you gave it a 9, 8, whatever. But for me, I'm just not. I'm not a fan. Not a fan. And so, yeah, Star Wars Outlaws, it will go down in history, in my backlog history, never to return again to the front log, for sure. Not going to return there. But aside from that, everything's been going well. You know, it's been a good week. And not so good for gaming news, though. Like, Hargeet, before we get into any topic, I want to talk to you about something, because it's really like, it's honestly kind of upsetting. I'm kind of tired of negative news in the industry, whether it's Sony or Microsoft. Like, I want some great freaking news already. I want people to be talking about some great games and stuff.
So it just comes down to what you focus on, Fonz. That's all it comes down to.
Oh,
right?
Sure it does.
We get game releases. We got Space Marine 2 coming in at, what is it, 85, 86 meta. That's pretty good, right?
Space Marine 2.
Positive news.
Yeah. It's very few and fleeting, especially with all the freaking bad news we've been getting. And let's go ahead and start with this one, since we're still waiting on D. Batchimus, who probably won't make it tonight because I haven't heard a word. And I did send him the right link. But yeah, D. Batch is supposed to join us, guys. Thank you, everybody that is watching right now. I've got 73 people in the chat. If you would, I never ask, but I will this time. Hit that like button. It would help. I appreciate you. Let me check up on D-Batch. Let's see. Nope, no message from D-Batch. All right, so let's start with this. Gaming Insider Mag from the XNC podcast. That's right, I said Gaming Insider, and also our friend Mag. He seems to know people because he has gotten some things right. And so I believe him. He says, I've heard this from other people since then as well. Sony has locked down the marketing rights for GTA 6. And this will be confirmed during the VGAs.
That's good news, right?
Well, listen, it'll be confirmed this year during the VGAs, where the second game trailer of GTA 6 will be shown, showcasing that Sony is indeed that marketing partner for them. So, and this is arguably the biggest game coming. And if they lock down marketing, number one, they spent a bunch on that for sure. Number two, it gets me into this whole thought process with the PS5 Pro, and are they going to be really pushing the Pro to market this game when it does come out next year? You know, maybe hopefully have some enhancements over the other consoles. Who knows? Because I don't know what Rockstar will do, Hargeet, but I've been talking enough. Please let me know what you think. What do you think about this?
Well, look, it was very likely that was the only path. I don't think Xbox was going to spend the money. They just spent $70 billion buying ABK. That is their marketing now. So they're going to market Call of Duty, which is probably bigger than GTA or very close. And, the other options are Nintendo. They just generally don't go to this, in this direction. And that leaves Sony. Or Take-Two just does it on their own because, it's GTA that doesn't really need to be marketed, right? So, if they want the partnership, it was going to be Sony or nothing, and so they ponied up, as it were. And
yeah. I'm wondering how much they would pony up, considering Rockstar has never. Well, they haven't traditionally put out 60 frames in any of their console games. Until they came out with our GTA 5 remaster or whatever. So they like people to double dip. They're notorious for that. How much do you think it would take for Sony to say, hey, can you do one of these performance modes for our Pro, but don't do it for anybody else?
What else is there, right? This could be the Series X. I don't think the Nintendo is going to come in and do 60.
No, and the Series S.
So really, that's the only other option.
Yeah.
Right. It's really just the Series X. Hey,
Sony's notorious for trying to keep other things off, features and games off Series
obviously.
X. So,
and I wouldn't be shocked that they have it. I think Mag said this, right? That they might have exclusive content, some crap like that.
I hate that
this
stuff.
is always the way Sony does that.
I hate that.
Slimy platform practices, as Phil was pointing out. But yeah, that's what they do, and they're going to continue to do that. Would they pay for 60? I'm sure they could. How much would that cost? What would the development time be for something like that? Maybe it's a few $1 million, but I don't know if they're going to pay for just that. And so I guess the question is, what does it do to the game? Is it going to hurt the game? Probably not, right? If you're going to buy it somewhere else, you're going to buy it somewhere else. It doesn't matter. It's still there, right? If it's available in 60, that may create enthusiasm for the game. So in the end, I'm not sure if it's a negative. They generally don't do 60 at launch. They do 30, but I can see them doing it, and I don't know that it would cost that much. It really just comes down to what they want to. So if this is going to cost us, let's just put a number, $10 million to make it work at 60. They'll just pay the $10 million, right? I don't think it's that big a deal. So for Sony, it's all plus, right? It's just all positive, because it doesn't matter. You're still, even if you buy the lower end, which most people will, normal PS5 and play the game there, the association is all that matters because of perception. That's all that is. That's what you get with marketing anyway, is perception. So
yep. And speaking of the PS5 Pro, there was some news here. This PS5 Pro, let me try to pull this up here for people to see. Okay. Well, D's not here, so never mind his picture there, guys. He's not with us. But this, D-Batch was posting this earlier today, and I saw this. It says, PS5 Pro price and release info from a good source he has, hearing $600 to $650. It's coming out the week of Black Friday, supposedly. All rumor, of course. November 25th through the 29th is the supposed release week, the window. 600 to 650 is kind of where I am with this. Now, I don't know. It's going to be a tough sell, Hargeet. Even at 650. A pro model, especially, I think a lot of people probably will think back to the, last generation and the mid-gen refreshes and how little people bought those. I don't think so many people are as reactive as some may think when it comes to these consoles. I don't think so many are waiting in line for a pro model of either console. I don't know.
Yeah, the point of it is not to have a next gen leap, right? That's the point of a pro model. I don't know what this one gets you. I know people seem to be gung ho about it, but
some people comparing it to a 4090, and I'm like, what?
Well,
no,
that's just stupidity.
Yeah.
But
straight up.
Yeah, I unless they gave me, so look, when I go to a 4090, the two things I get is I get guaranteed over 30 frames, right? I can get 60, 80, 90 frames easily. And then I get path tracing, which I just don't get on console. Path tracing is just almost impossible to see on console for now. Unless they're offering me both of those, I just don't see what the point is. Like, if it's an incremental, hey, you know what? Instead of it being 1200, it's 1440. I don't care. It's just not that big of a deal, right? Unless you're giving me a generational leap, I just don't know what you get. Now, it made somewhat more sense in the last generation when they started this thing to have a PS4 Pro to get to a 4K, 4K, and then the One X to get up, basically the same thing, kind of a 4K, but mostly 4K, with the 6T flops, right? That at least made sense. You had 4K TVs that just sort of dropped, and that gave you a reason to actually do the upgrade. Even then, not that many people bought it. It was under 10% for both platforms.
And I'll argue this, Hargeet, even though I was one of the few that bought a Series X and a PS4 Pro, I would argue that it actually hurt going into this generation for me because I was already seeing that return. I was already seeing 4K. I was already seeing textures I didn't have before. And with this generation, it seems like the biggest push, you're right, is ray tracing and path tracing. That is like the biggest push of this generation.
Yeah.
So it's not the 4K.
Unless it's going to do something useful there, I don't know. Like, and maybe it does a better job with ray tracing and you get more frames. That's cool. But I think people have gotten used to that, right? They're like, okay, if I want the graphics, I'll just put it on graphics mode. And if it's 30, it's 30. And there's people like you that are like, nope, I want 60. Turn off the graphics. Give me the 60. Fair enough. And maybe you get a bit closer to having ray tracing with 60. Or maybe like 40 or 45 or something like that. But, I don't know that it's like the end of the world. Like
we get the pisser, though, to help. We get the pisser. We get the pisser to help with that. 40, 45
we
frames,
don't know
that's
how
okay.
bad that's going to be. We don't know yet. But, whatever. They're going to try. We'll see, right? We have to wait until it comes out so we understand what the heck it actually is. We don't even know what the specs are.
I'll be totally honest, Hargeet. I'm looking forward to seeing what the specs are and what it does. I'm looking forward to seeing that because as somebody who's into this tech and into the consoles and, PC gaming and all this, if you're a gamer at all, it's interesting to see. And
certainly interesting, right? Yeah.
And, and I told you before the show, if Sony was like to say, hey, Rockstar, give us 60 frames with that GTA 6 since we got the marketing deal here. If they can do that with GTA 6, I think that will help, but I don't think it'll help push over those sales to the point where like everybody's going to want a PS5 Pro and upgrade. That's not going to happen. That's not realistic. But it will be indeed the best place for GTA 6 if that were to happen.
For a year.
Yeah.
For a year. Until it comes to PC, in which case, it's going to get demolished. And then... But whatever.
Yeah. Well, I just got a message from D-Batch. He said, shit, kids, fuck. That's what he said. All right. I'm just telling him if you can make it, join us.
Next year is when it's coming out. And next year, we also have the 5090 coming. So once you take that into account. Insane. And once, they're going to have to delay for a year or whatever. But when that thing comes in 2026, you're going to have a pretty rock solid 5090 driver set. It's going to be pretty well integrated in, right? So you'll have some pretty crazy amount of graphics with that, right? So we'll see what they do with it. I'm sure we'll have revved both the Intel and the AMD CPUs as well. The latest generation of AMD is apparently not so great.
I heard they're not so great. Yeah. So
I'm sitting pretty in my 7800 X3D, which apparently turns out to be the best gaming CPU.
That is the best gaming CPU on the market as is, even better than the new AMDs. Like, good job on that. So what are you going to do? You're going to buy a 5090 and just slot it right in there?
I don't know. As I've said before, I don't know what the upgrade is that's going to make it worth it, right? Until I see something that's going to say, yes, the 5090 substantially changes this game. Like the 4090 gave me Cyberpunk path traced at over 70, 80, 90 frames. And I'm like, that's good. I don't even need more than that. It's good.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah, even Star Wars with their, ray tracing and their push to all the bells and whistles, like you still get 80 frames in that game with the 4090. So it's, even with the newest games, it's happening. Wukong, as badly as it's optimized, it still will net you 80 plus frames. So,
and that's the thing. Once you get past 60, it's like it becomes more gravy. It's nice to have more, absolutely, but it's like
100%.
Once I'm past 60, it's like it's good enough. I'm good. It's like,
yeah, once you hit 60, it's good. But it's just interesting. Chat, I would like you guys to weigh in. How much do you think the PS5 Pro is going to come in at? I say $649.99, but what say you? Some people are actually saying like $699, and I think that is a way.
That was the original rumor, right? It was going to be $600.
And it could be. Don't get me wrong. It could be, but it would be a really hard sell. I'm
curious if they really would stick with 1 terabyte. I guess they would just to make the price look good, but I don't know. That just seems kind of weird to have your Pro be 1 terabyte as well. All right, whatever.
Yeah, but for some reason, I don't know why they charge so much for memory on console. Like,
well, NVMe is kind of expensive. I get it, but whatever. And plus, it's a way for them to make money, right? Because I get it. The people that want the cheap will buy the lower end, right? The people that want to, get like, I want everything, they'll pay more. They just will. That's just the way it is, right? So there's just a calculus of like how many people would jump to this, and would $50 more make them say no? Like, it's just not realistic that most people are going to go get the Pro. They're just going to get it anyways. Whatever the price is, they're going to get it anyway, right? So for those who just want like a budget level thing, they have it. It's a normal PS5 Slim. Just go get it, right? Or you can get the Series S, right? That's a budget level entry. Go get it, right? So that's the point of a Pro.
Look who's joined us. D.
Yay!
D. Batchimus Maximus. How's it going, bro?
It's good. Honest tell you, whenever the kids come in, I just lose track of time sometimes. And I was looking deep into getting Space Marines 2. I thought that game was coming to Game Pass, so I'm like, where's this game? Why can't I download it early?
So many people thought that. I thought that in the beginning as well. The first month, I was thinking that, and somebody told me like a month after we saw it at the showcase, they said, no, that's not coming out on Game Pass. I was like, what? I was blown away. And people, just like you, D, still today thought it was coming to Game Pass. So it's crazy. But we were talking about, D-Batch, you sound like you're on a phone or something.
I don't know if I have the right mic. I don't know if it's maybe the mic from my headset. I'm not quite sure, man.
Yeah, it's coming through. Like, sounds like you sound like Tim Dog tonight.
Tim Dog. How about now? Does it sound better, or is it the same?
No, it sounds the same, bro.
Okay, hold on a second. It's the mic. 1 second.
Xboxer Mike, he said that he thinks that it'll be $1,500 to be a 5 Pro. Jeez.
Well, in some countries, right, where the dollar is less valuable, it probably will be.
Yeah, I guess so. A lot of people think between $700 and $800. Holy crap. That's pricey.
I mean,
man.
Look, I don't understand the point of it, but the people who are going to buy it are enthusiasts. And to be quite frank, if you put it at $800, those enthusiasts will still buy it. And you can look at it very straightforward. How many people paid extra to scalpers to get a PlayStation? How many? It's just the way it is.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
So,
there are people.
Don't think they didn't see those numbers. They did. They know, right? And it's like, well, if they're willing to pay that for that, why wouldn't they pay more for this? Right? That's just the way it is. And it's all economics and business, right? I just, if they put it at $800, again, it's not the base model. You've got a base model, right? Go get the base model if you can't afford it. This is for the people who want to spend more money.
Yeah, you're 100% right about that. It's for the enthusiasts. Yeah, it's for the enthusiasts, and it's for the 10% of tops, like 10% of all the gamers on that platform that are going to purchase this anyway. They're going to purchase through scalpers, because scalpers. Scalpers.
Still talking like 8 to 10, maybe 12 million people will still buy this. Why not make money? If you can make $100 in each one of those, why the hell not?
Yep, and scalpers will. Mark my words, scalpers will buy up those PS5 Pros.
Guaranteed.
They will. Wow, sounds like a bunch of record scratching and.
I know,
Oh
right?
no!
Okay, I hear you.
For some reason, I think it's just using the default mic on the headset.
Okay, I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you now. You sound better. You sound better than you did. You sounded like you were on a phone earlier.
It was tucked in. That's why. So I pulled it out. So
okay. Well, keep it pulled out. Don't tuck it in ever. Word of advice. Unless
that's what she said.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on. We're talking about the PS5 Pro real quick. D, I read about your rumor, saying you had a source that it's coming in between $600 and $650. Can you elaborate on that? Is it with the disc, without the disc?
From what I heard, without the disc, but they're not 100% certain on that because they haven't really been briefed on that. They're just getting like early briefings on it.
Yeah, early briefings.
And apparently it's coming out the week of Black Friday, and it's going to be like a big push to get it out that week. And there's going to be a huge media presence. It's going to be a lot of advertising. They're really going to go out with it. And if we look at the literature of the leak stuff for the PlayStation 5 Pro, every game that is on the PlayStation 5 Pro, to my knowledge, at least from the literature, has to be PS5 Pro enhanced. So, holiday season, we're going to have a slew of games that are coming out, and I think it's going to be an easy way for them to show it. Now, if that price is correct, 600 to 650 USD, I think that's a good price point. Honestly, like some people say, oh, that's expensive, but relative to what you're going to be getting on PC, I think it's pretty good. And yes, there's some sacrifices. Yeah, the CPU is not what we want it to be, but this can't be debated. It's going to play the best version of every console game that is out right now. And that
is true. But here's the thing, though. It's going to be a hard sell regardless at those prices. And also, like we were talking about before you got here, this is really a console for the enthusiasts, and it's not really going to be for everybody. Most people are going to pick up a traditional PS5 this holiday. So
I think out the gate, I think it's going to do well because it's the new shiny, and I think the time of the year. But I think overall, most people are probably going to get a PlayStation 5 because you're right. The price point is a little bit higher. So they're going to really have to show the difference in the benefit of owning the PlayStation 5 Pro. But I don't know at the same time if they really care because, they just kind of pushed the PlayStation Portal out there, and you don't really see a lot of advertisement for it or anything like that. But it's selling well. Like, it's selling really well. So I think as many people they can get on their hardware or their ecosystem, I think that's all they really care about, and delivering, those PlayStation experiences to them,
Yeah, except there's no PlayStation experience coming out this holiday, so it's going to be a tough sell. That's what I'm saying. So, these dev kits have to be in the wild right now for them to get the new shiny out there, right? I mean, it's got to be out there.
We've reported on this for like a long time that dev kits got them. They got them
that's
way
that's
back.
What I was wondering,
right?
Because there was like some people talking about, some developer could do this or something, and I was like, wait a minute, why is it they could do it? Because they should be able to do it if the dev kits are already out. Like, I was questioning something. I forgot what it was now. I'm an old man, okay? Give me a break. But so I don't know, man. Are you gonna pick one up? You probably will.
Yeah, I'm going to pick one up just because it's going to be the de facto place to play all my PlayStation exclusives the best. Yeah. It's going to bring me closer to that PC sphere, so I will. I think, honestly, this console...
Wait, D, don't you have a 49?
Yeah, I do. I think this... Yeah, but...
So why would that be the best place to play? Why wouldn't your 49 be the best place to play?
Because I don't like to limit myself, and I don't want to have to wait a year to play certain games. Some games I just want to play right away.
FOMO.
And if I can play that game at a higher resolution and at a decent frame rate on the PlayStation 5 Pro and not have to wait a year, because I'm okay with 60 FPS. I just don't like anything lower than 60 FPS. So I'm okay with that, and I'm okay with a higher resolution. So, like, God of War came out, I could play it right through on the PlayStation 5 Pro. Like, what happens now, I get God of War, I play it for like I don't know, a couple of missions, and I'm like, oh my god, the 30 FPS or the resolution or whatever, and I
Well,
say,
it's
forget it, I'm gonna
60.
wait till PC.
It's
Where with the
60.
PlayStation 5 Pro, I have the option of playing some of these games at 60. Now,
But
I
God of
think
War is
personally,
60.
well, we're gonna have a different opinion on this, but
No,
on the
he's saying
PlayStation, I think
God of War, I think, is only
God of War
40.
is 60.
I only think it has a 40 frame thing.
No, I'm
Does it
pretty
have
sure
a
they do a
60?
60
Does,
FPS.
yeah, it
I'll
does
check,
have a
I'll check.
60S performance mode, but I don't
Yeah,
think it's
I'm pretty sure it has
locked. I don't think it's completely locked. I
and
don't know if
there's a bit of compromise as well, right? Where I'm playing on PC, I don't like on console you can get the frame rate, but then you're going to compromise, some of the graphics, or you're going to get the graphics and you're going to compromise the frame rate. There's some games that are
Yeah.
anomaly that you get everything, but that's not usually the
Well, I
norm.
mean,
Where
understand
like
that
a
God of War
PlayStation
is
5
a
Pro has
PS4
the
game.
potential to address
True, Hargeet.
both of these issues. And I personally think that the PlayStation 5 Pro, what's going to make or break it, this is my opinion. I think PSSR. I think that's really going to make or break that console. I think if PSSR is like DLSS,
Yes, sir.
then I think Sony has a win on their hands. If it's not like DLSS, then I don't know, man. It's going to be a hard sell to sell the masses on it. But if it's like DLSS, the image quality difference alone that you're going to get and the frame rates, it's going to be worth it, in my opinion.
What if it's more like FSR, not DLSS?
Then it's garbage. But if they're using machine learning, it shouldn't be like FSR, because FSR it's missing a lot of stuff, right?
Okay. So that's the difference between DLSS and FSR. FSR is not using machine learning.
So it's not on the neural network, so they kind of train it, but it's not
Gotcha.
it's not the same, right? So
Gotcha.
some games they can get in there and optimize it more and get it working better, where DLSS, like, it's just on the neural network, like, it just works, man. I don't know what to honestly tell you. I was the most skeptical about DLSS when it came out. I was like, what is this crap? All these fake frames and yada yada yada. And then when I actually played it and seen it being implemented, I was like, holy smokes! And then now you got like ray reconstruction, and like I'm having actually better looking ray tracing with this feature on, and I'm not noticing any lag, and like I have a great image quality. So it's machine learning is the difference maker, and if Sony can truly do that, I think it's a big deal for the consoles. I'm pretty sure that AMD's next stuff is going to have it, because that's all that they're missing. That's the only piece of the puzzle that they're missing.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is the kind of stuff that is interesting in this console coming. It would be interesting to see, because it kind of gives you a glimpse into Sony's PS6 and future consoles, maybe even I would dare say the next Xbox, because they are going to have their own proprietary AI stuff going on with that. We're already hearing about a hybrid PC console hybrid type of thing, so it's interesting, and this kind of stuff is fun, and that's why when people tell me, well, Fonz, you got a 4090, why would you buy a console in the future? It's because of this stuff. I like this stuff. Like, it's interesting to me. And honestly, like, if you could just turn on your console, lay in your bed or lay on the couch, play a game, and it's just seamless and easy to do. And I know a lot of people say, well, it's the same for the PC. For the most part, you're right, but not always. If you've got your TV in the bedroom and your PC's in the living room, maybe you want that console in that bedroom. Maybe you want to play in there. I don't know. So things like that. It's just, I don't know. I like the tech. I like the different stuff in these consoles and stuff. It's just, I don't know. It's interesting. It's fun.
Console, console will never go away. Like, we can debate who will be the players in the future, but console will never go away, because you can't beat the performance for the price that a console delivers. And the what do you say, the casuals, they're the ones that buy this. They want ease of access, especially this generation. They want everything easy. So a console, you turn it on, that's it, everything's there. Your friend list populates, your game is there, the storefront's there, everything is there, you're good to go. You don't have to worry about drivers. It's a completely different experience, and it's a cheaper entry point into gaming. So it's not going anywhere, and it's going to always be kind of a separate market.
Yeah, it kind of still remains that way. I even see it that way, even though I'm mostly on PC now. I still see it as a separate market. You know, if you're a tried and true console gamer, a PC is a hard sell for you. It really is, and vice versa. I would say the same thing.
And there's some experiences that you can like only get on consoles, and and like it's arguable that sports games are better on consoles because of the larger community. So like there's experiences that you're just gonna get on console that you're not necessarily gonna get on PC, and like versions of the games that are on console and like PC gets a completely different version. That's not even like the console version. Example, Xbox Series X. Today I went out and bought NBA 2K25, and I found out when I got home that the PC version finally has the next gen version. So I actually returned my console version and got the PC version, but that's one.
Doesn't that come into Game Pass?
I need a console. Yeah, but it comes to Game Pass like later, right? It's not day one.
No, I think it's this month.
Is it? Look that up for me.
Yeah,
well, that's perfect. And I got it on both
I'm
places.
pretty sure it's coming to Game Pass.
Yeah.
Then I really saved the gift that keeps on giving.
Again,
know,
though,
right?
I like having all the different tech and stuff. It's a hobby, man. This is something that we put a lot of money into, and it's a love for this hobby. I don't know why people question each other on why we do certain things in gaming, especially when gaming is so selfish. Like, we all have our own reasons, and we all have our own likes and dislikes. We all have the types of genres of games that we like and don't like, and we're all completely different. The three of us here, we play totally different games. I don't play 2K. I don't play these tiny games that Hargeet will play at times, and Hargeet won't touch Star Wars. He won't even try it.
Not with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah. D-Batch, I was talking about Star Wars Outlaws earlier, and I was like, I don't care for it. I really don't. I don't think it does anything particularly well. I know you like it, though, and I want to at least let you tell people why you like the game so far.
Yeah, well, I like the atmosphere. Now, first, when I played the game, I had it early, and it was kind of buggy, man. I had a lot of issues. I had a lot of crashes, some weird stuff with the characters, some like low frame rates during the cutscenes. So out the gate, I wasn't impressed with it. Day one, they patched it, and everything was running much better. And I turned it up to the maximum. There's like a hidden setting behind there that you can
I did that. The outlaw setting.
Yeah. And that setting, I said, it's not worth it, and I'm getting pretty crappy performance. So
it was like 40 frames on a 4090, bro. It was terrible.
I cranked that back down, but I was impressed with the overall fidelity, the visuals.
What I don't like? You know what I don't like about frame gen? I don't like what it does to hair in any game. Frame gen and hair, it doesn't mix well. It looks very
that like little
alias
halo kind of around it, right?
It doesn't look good. Hair doesn't do well with frame gen. So I always try to play my games with frame gen off, but you'll take a big hit in a game like Star Wars, a huge hit.
So this game, I let it run with it on, and yes, I did notice the anomalies on the hair, for sure. But I can kind of overlook that because the latency was pretty good. Like it felt 1-to-1. It felt pretty good with frame gen on. So I'm enjoying the game. And not to get off topic, just speaking about frame gen, Wukong, I played that with frame gen. I just could not play that game with frame gen. I was getting murdered. That game, it
adds a bit of latency. It does.
Yeah.
Wait, you're playing that on PlayStation? Or you're not playing on PC?
No, I'm playing it on PC, but I put frame gen on, right?
Oh, you turned it on.
To turn everything up. No, but I turned it off now. I don't play with it on now because like
it does add latency. It does.
A bit. But
by the way, I have not seen anything. I've not seen anything that actually NBA is in Game Pass, so you're probably better off buying.
Oh, okay. And,
by the way,
and Star Wars is the opposite end of that. Star Wars, I found the latency pretty good. Like I had no issues doing what I needed to do in that game. So, but yeah, overall, I think it's a good game. Like I was telling you, I think it's like maybe a 7.5. I'm enjoying it, but I'm like a Star Wars guy, right? So I might have some built-in bias towards the game, and you're looking at it the lens of a Ubisoft game and what you come to expect of their game. So your expectations are probably different than mine. But I think it's worth a play. I'm playing it in Ubisoft Plus, so for me, what cost me.
That's where I'm the complete opposite. I tell people it's not even worth a play. Like if you're on the fence, like don't bother. If you really love Star Wars, maybe. If you love this generation of Star Wars, I should say that first, because somebody like Hargeet, who likes the old Star Wars, doesn't necessarily like this new Star Wars. He's not going to be interested in this at all. So
I think if you got a 4090 and you just want to like stare at some nice ray tracing and some nice,
I don't even
some
think
nice
it looks
materials
that
and
good,
stuff,
dude. It's washed out, bro. The colors and everything. That I don't like the color palette they used. It looks very cinematic, but I like more vibrant and contrasty colors. And
how far did you get into the game, man?
I'm in the open world. I passed the prologue, went into the open world, and I don't care for the stealth at all. The shooting is not very good, in my opinion. And this is coming from the people that made the Division 2. Had great shooting.
Yeah, I'll admit the stealth elements I could do without, probably some of them, and the shooting is kind of meh. And honestly, you can like run up to them and just punch them out. To be honest,
yeah, you hear what he's saying. The stealth isn't great, and the shooting is meh. Yeah, that's the game, and that's why I don't like it.
But the shooting is fun. It's just not very challenging. Like it's just you're going through the beats, right? No, I think it's fun. It's just not. Listen, you're expecting a different game.
Yeah, I definitely.
A little bit sharper, and I think it's worth a play. Like
there's no
7
real.
to 7.5.
You know what about the shooting that really drives me nuts is there's no cover mechanic. So like if you're behind a wall, and you're shooting, and let's say you want to move over or move the gun this way and start shooting, sometimes her whole body will turn and then have to readjust. I'm like, no, I don't want you to turn your body this way. It's not good in my opinion.
Play card omni movement.
Omni movement. There you go. They need to input that in the game. But anyway, let's get off that because we talked about that to death earlier. Let's actually move on. Let's talk about some controversy this week. Developers of Inotria, the last song, claimed that they wanted to port their game to Xbox, but Xbox was giving them issues with their submission process. And we've heard this before from another developer not too long ago. And they had this to say: there's a lack of communication with Xbox. The game works fine on Series S and X, but we cannot go through the submission process, and they take even 2 months to reply to us. Many in the community were going after the developers, by the way, and calling them liars and everything about this. But today, they had this to say. Inotria came out and said that basically, let me put this up on the screen for y'all. They had this to say. They said, "We would like to officially thank Phil Spencer and his team for reaching out to us so promptly and helping to resolve our situation. We would also like to thank our amazing community for all the support shown in recent days. Your voice has been heard very loud and clear, and your commitment has been heartwarming. We are now working closely with Microsoft, and we hope this collaboration will lead to the game's release for Xbox as soon as possible." Now, let me just say, a lot of people were going after the developers after they first said, hey, look, we're trying to get hold of Microsoft. They don't get back to us after, 2 months even. They were having issues there. And because some of us in the community were going out there and saying, hey, Xbox, help them out. This is a possibility of getting another game on your platform. I may not necessarily want to play the game personally, but others do. And, who am I to say, no, that game shouldn't go there or F that game? Look, if a developer is saying, hey, I need help, and the community reaches out and says, hey, Xbox, help this people. And we have such, I think as a gaming community, we have a big presence enough to make a difference in these situations, and we do sometimes. And I think this is a prime example of we're not complaining or just yelling at Xbox. We're just trying to get their attention to do better. And I don't think it should have taken a community to get their attention. The developers should have their attention, their full attention, in my opinion. Yeah. And it sucks. I don't know. D, what did you have to say about this, man?
Yeah, it was unbelievable. So like I saw it come across my timeline, and then I saw a couple people making comments on it, and a lot of people were just jumping on the developers right away without finding out the reason, right? And then they directly went to, oh, you're being money hatted by Sony, and it's just like ridiculous. Like, the developer clearly wants their game on them on the Xbox Series consoles. If you would read a little bit further, instead of just reacting right away. But nonetheless, like, these guys came out and said, like, these guys haven't talked to us in 2 months. Like, Sony was nice enough to help us get on their console and get it up and running, but they don't have any type of exclusive rights with us, and our game's actually running on your Series S and X. It's running well. Like, what's going on? And it's the disconnect is unbelievable. That is like unacceptable for a big company like Microsoft, especially what's going on right now with Wukong missing it, with the Dune developer coming out and saying it's going to be a challenge to get the game on the Series S. Like, the optics aren't good, and your internal teams are not even responding to the developers when they actually have good news that the system is running on your consoles. Like, can we certify the game or what? Ridiculous.
Yeah.
And the guys defending it, I'm tired of, like, people defending Microsoft, or I should say Xbox, whenever they do something wrong. Like, they just gloss over it instead of calling them out on it so that you can fix these issues.
D, what world are you in? Xbox gets pummeled fucking constantly. What the fuck are you talking about, dude? Xbox can sneeze, and then the entire world says, "Why did you spread germs?"
I'm talking about people. I'm talking about people out there that have big channels, that have a lot of followers, and when this stuff happens, because they don't want to piss off their followers, they don't come out and say what is what. That's what I'm talking about. Yes, there's going to be people, the trolls out there talking about Microsoft. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about specifically, like there's an issue out there. And if you want my Xbox to get better, like, some of these issues have to be talked about. You can't gloss over it. This is terrible. It's terrible. There's no way about it. It's terrible. And I don't know what to say, man. Microsoft, this should never have happened. We shouldn't be talking about it. It's unacceptable.
Here's my biggest issue, and I hear what you're saying, Hargeet. Yes, Xbox does get a lot of flack, but what D is talking about is the people that were immediately attacking the devs and calling them liars on not just on Twitter, but even on podcasts and stuff. And it's like, what? Why are you calling these people liars? And then they bring up this whole thing where 5 months ago,
they specifically earlier. Yeah.
Listen. And it's easy to even explain. I don't even know why anybody would have to explain this. So 5 months ago, they said that they had made the tough decision to put their game out first on the PC and PS5, which the PS5 is the market leader. And they said that they were, at that time, if they were to put it on the Xbox X and S, it would make the game, what did they say exactly? It basically alluded to the Series S might had to make the game a little bit worse, okay, than they wanted it to be. And I don't know where they were at that time, but this was 5 months ago. Fast forward to just the other day when they put out this statement, they said that they got the Series X and S ready. So it's clear to see back then they didn't have it ready, but now they do. So they're trying to get in touch with Microsoft. It could have been ready 2 months ago even. Because like I said, 5 months ago, people were bringing up this thing where they said they decided to put it on PC and PS5 first. So what if that was their choice, first of all? Second, if they still want to put it on this platform, Xbox should be there to help them. It doesn't matter when the game would have arrived. It doesn't matter. The fact remains is, if I have a game coming to your platform and I have nobody to get in contact with you to submit this game, or I'm having an issue with the submission process and you're not helping me, that's your fault as a company. Get your shit together. That's not my fault as a developer. And it doesn't matter what the fanboys out there and their feelings say about the whole situation, because at the end of the day, it's another fucking game coming to your console. Get it right. And this is not the first time we've heard it from Xbox, from other developers with the submission process. This is not the first. I don't know. That's how I feel. That's how I feel about it. Are you there?
It has to be brought to light so it can get dealt with.
Yeah,
man.
and it was. And if it wasn't for us adding Xbox and telling them about this, hey, help them out, I don't think they would have got the help. I really don't. And shame on frickin' Phil Spencer and company for not giving them the help before all this. It shouldn't take a community to yell. Hargeet, you're shaking your head, but it shouldn't take a community to shake Xbox and wake them up. It shouldn't take that. It's weird.
The answer is just don't do it. Don't bother. If they don't want the game, they don't want the game. Right? Like, who are we to be their mom and dad? We're not.
But so they're supposed to be okay.
Then don't be a part of Xbox.
Wait, hold up. So you're saying just don't put the game on there, even if people want it?
I don't care.
You don't care. Well, but this is a selfish hobby. Everybody has their own reasoning for each game to play each game. He wants to
buy a fucking PS5 Pro, even though he has a far superior system, because he wants it. Good. That's it. Want it?
We
good.
Should always have the choice, though, and you should have the choice to play any game on any platform you want.
And the thing that's the problem is that everything gets piled. How many, like, do you guys remember that it costs ridiculous amounts to even put a fucking game on PlayStation? And then if you want to market it, it's $10,000 a pop for an indie? Do you remember this shit?
Yeah. It
Do we forget these things?
But the thing we got to understand too, it also costs money to develop your game and port games to other platforms. This developer straight up said, hey, I'm spending money putting this game on there and I'm not getting help. The guy obviously wants it everywhere. Who wouldn't? A small game, you want it everywhere. Yeah. And I get it.
And how many of these things happen in the background and you don't know about it?
What's up?
How many companies go out in public and bitch like this?
They were, you know why they did? Do you know why they did? They didn't bitch. No. Assholes. It's because there was consumers asking for the game saying, why isn't it on Xbox? Why isn't it coming day one? And they explained to them why. They said because Xbox's submissions process sucks. That's the facts, Hargeet. That's the facts.
Then expect to get backlash. And that's the way it is.
Backlash from who? The people that got their feelings hurt because they offended a corporation? Fuck the corporation. I'm always there for the fucking little guy. Fuck those guys.
Did somebody from Microsoft push back?
No. You know where the pushback came from?
What are you talking about?
All the little lemmings that fucking all the fanboys that said they're liars. These developers are liars. It's ridiculous, man. All those guys who came out and said anything are ridiculous. I don't even want to freaking, oh God, it's so dumb. Seriously, they get their feelings hurt over a corporation being called out.
Aren't you getting your feelings hurt right now?
No, I'm not. I'm not. My feelings are hurt.
I'm smiling.
Well, I'm arguing. I'm arguing this because
it's the end of the world. It doesn't matter.
I'm arguing this because it's true. All these fanboys get so mad and defensive over these corporations.
That's across the board.
And they will stick. Across the board. It doesn't matter, but we're talking about Xbox and we're talking about Xbox's issues, real issues that they're having. This isn't the first developer to come out and say, hey, they've got a problem with the submission process. And we heard from Jez Corden that they laid off people that work in that submission process. Fair enough. They're probably not got too many people working on that shit. I don't know, but they need help. I don't know. That's what I say. Danny Passion Official, thank you very much for your super chat. He says, Series S isn't the reason why Wukong is not on Xbox. Question mark.
No, it's always Series S. It's always Series S.
Okay, here's the problem.
When plane crashes, it's the Series S's fault. Guaranteed.
Series S. So Paul Tassi has kind of doubled down, tripled down, quadrupled down that there's some sort of exclusivity deal. And my interpretation of it, and this is just my interpretation of it, which other people might have said as well, is that this whole thing is probably something to, where Sony paid a little bit more to get their PS5 version worked on and released the same time as, the official release date, the PC version. Xbox didn't. And I also believe at the same time, they probably are having issues porting the game to the Series S. I could see that happening. for sure.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry, I had you guys screwed up. So I could see that happening. I could see both being a problem tonight, or not tonight, but I could see both of them being right. I could see one that they are freaking having issues with the game, porting it to Series S, and I can see that
do not
they
say that
probably
shit unless
paid.
you know it. I'm sick of the bullshit.
No.
Dude.
I said
Series
I can
S is
see
not
it.
the problem.
I said
Fuck
I
off.
can see
no,
it.
No.
You know why? Because Dune Awakening is having
program-
issues with the Series S.
Do you?
And we have
program-
facts on that.
It's bullshit to keep
We have
saying
facts on that.
crap.
We have facts.
I
We have facts.
actually watched a video with Digital Foundry.
It's crap.
And
It's more work. So what?
They ran a GPU that was similar to the Xbox Series S, and it didn't run that good, and they had to really strip it down. So if you want my honest opinion, after looking, I looked deep into this.
I can't barely hear you, D. You sound far away.
Yeah,
Again?
same thing happening with your mic, dude.
Okay, I'm gonna take this headset off. I'll be back.
Yeah, so you know
No,
what?
dude, it's scaling. I'm kind of done with that whole narrative. If people can't figure it out, that's their problem. It's not.
You're
it's
not
the
saying
same.
so.
I'm
You're
just done
saying
with
wait, hold up. So you're saying that this scaling issue, because you're calling it a scaling thing, you don't think that it takes much more time with this Series S with its little memory pool, with some of these more demanding games?
It's cutting the assets down. That's it. Right?
They're
Does that
having
take time?
a time. Yeah,
It doesn't take
exactly.
15 years though. It
It's
takes like a week.
taking more
It's not
time
that
than
big
they
deal.
want.
I don't give
No,
a shit.
D,
I'm just
it's
done
still
with this
bad,
whole
D.
crap. It's so much baloney. This whole
It
thing
isn't
that it
baloney.
takes like
It's
eternity
true.
and it's the end of the world. If
It's
people
not
can't
the end
figure
of the
it out,
world,
then
but
they
it's
shouldn't be making
true.
games.
Look, the Series
Dude.
S was a disaster. Shouldn't have ever been put out. It should have been a
fuck
digital
off.
Series X.
It's not a disaster.
It
That's
should have been a
bullshit
digital
statement,
Series
dude.
X.
It's a bullshit
It's a disaster to
statement.
have two SKUs,
It's a
one with a low
bullshit
memory pool. That was a
Come
bad
on.
decision. Bad decision to
Come
make.
on.
I'm sorry, Hargeet. That's how I feel. I have a totally different feeling for that Series S than I did in the beginning. I used to think, oh, brilliant idea. $299, you get into next gen. That thing is not next gen. That thing is not next gen. That thing barely is better than the freaking 1X.
So riddle me this: how much memory did the PS3 have?
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
256
Yeah,
megs.
it doesn't matter. Wukong is not on there.
256 megs.
They're
Did all
not
those
trying to
games
get
run?
Wukong on a PS3, Hargeet. Look, Dune Awakening, right there on your screen. One of the reasons why they're having problems getting this over to Xbox on time, skipping the Xbox release date because Awakening is
Because
having
they're dumb and
trouble.
They can't figure out how to do
It's a
things right? That's
challenge,
their
they
problem.
say at Funcom. It's a challenge to get this on the Series S.
Did people come to PlayStation?
It's a
Did they get it on the
challenge.
PS3?
Dune Awakening?
I don't
no.
care about challenge.
Dune Awakening?
It is
no.
what it is, dude.
No. You
Challenge
can't,
doesn't matter.
You can't
You gotta get the
defend.
job done.
You can't continue to defend mediocrity.
I'm not
Hargeet.
defending anything. It's a stupid thing to keep saying that something is a bad thing because you don't like it.
If they
somebody
keep
has a
telling
challenge
you it's
dealing with
bad-
it, they have to deal with it.
If more and more
It is what it
developers
is.
are coming out and saying, "Hey, it's a challenge," it's a problem.
Oh my god, those poor developers!
Oh, I trust them way more than anybody in this in this community. I trust them way more than Xbox. 100%. Who are you going to trust? The developer or Xbox? Who are you going to trust?
Neither.
No,
It doesn't matter,
no,
dude.
no.
I know how it takes
Not
what
at
it takes
all.
to make something. It's bullshit. It's all bullshit.
You don't port these demanding games onto a Series S and X at the same time. You don't do that. You can't say what you do in your job is the same. It's not a one-to-one equivalency. It's
Yeah,
not.
I have technical ability
It's
they
not.
don't have.
I know you
Fair
do,
enough,
but I'm just telling you that these companies, it's not just a one-off. It seems to be happening more often, especially as of late.
So what?
But why?
That's their issue, dude. Why is that a problem for us? If they can't figure out how to do it, that's on them.
Because
Right? Development has become a
because
hellish
then
landscape.
Xbox gamers don't get the game on time.
Then
They
go
missed
get a
out
different
on
platform.
arguably the biggest game of the year. Because why? Because of Xbox incompetency. It's on Xbox.
You're still on the wrong mic, dude.
If it is indeed. if it is indeed the Series S, the issue
system.
for Wukong, it's on the Series S. It's on the whole parity thing. I think the parity is just terrible between the Series X and S. I think it's an awful thing to have.
I couldn't be any more vehemently against your theory there, but anyway, it is what it is.
You're for the parity between the, no, you sound far away, bro. I don't know what happened.
I'm going to reboot my system.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. And I know a lot of people in my chat don't agree with me, and they probably are agreeing with you.
And I'm sure some do, but
they're just wrong. Yeah, some do.
Like,
but
you can't blame the console because it's difficult to program. I'm sorry, that's just been consoles. The whole point of a console is it's a shit platform that you have to take advantage of. That's the way it is. If everything was like a 64 gig, 4090, a $4,000 PC for $300, that'd be awesome. But that's not the world we're in. Consoles
I know, but you can always blame that corporation that decided to have two SKUs on two totally different types of consoles to make. The Switch is irrelevant in this conversation because they're not even in the conversation.
Oh my god, dude.
They're not in the conversation because this is Xbox. I'm not even talking about PlayStation at this moment. Like, oh, if you want to go there, we can do that. We can say, look, PlayStation put out two SKUs as well, but one was an all-digital PS5, which, you know what? Xbox should have done that. I don't know why they decided, oh, let's come out with this console with a low memory pool that might F us in the end. Maybe they didn't know. Maybe they didn't know tech was going to move as fast as it's moving, and these developers were going to push the tech. Maybe they didn't know this. I don't know, but you have to have some foresight in this industry, and it seems like they lost out on that foresight.
I think you're just way overblowing this, dude. People still play games on a 1650. That's a 4 gig. 4 gig.
They're not playing Wukong, and they're not going to be playing Dune Awakening on a 1650.
Really? Let's go look at the minimum spec. I'll go look at the minimum spec.
They're playing Fortnite. That's what they're playing. I don't agree with you at all in this scenario, Hargeet. I love you, brother, but I do not agree with you. So
their minimum is a 2060. Let's see. Is that going to be 25 gigs of memory? Let's see what they say.
Danny Passion Official with the $2 says Jedi Survival, Mortal Kombat 1 on Switch, Hargeet.
Well, there you go. It's on the Switch.
Yeah, it's on the Switch.
By the way, that's 6 gigs. That's the requirement.
Yeah, it's so bad on the Switch.
Your entire bullshit right there. The minimum spec is a 6 gig video card. 6 gig.
On what? On what?
Black Myth Wukong.
For Wukong?
RTX 20. Yep, for Black Myth Wukong. So
you're just wrong. It's not a 1650. You said a 1650.
It's a 2060 is the minimum spec.
No. You said 1650. You said 1650. I said there's no way a 1650 is running Wukong. So you lost there. You lost. All right,
it's a 2060 minimum spec. It's a 6 gig card. You lost. Shut up.
No. You're talking about a 20. No. A 1650 is not running Wukong. Even a 2060 isn't going to run Wukong right. Bro, at what? 20 frames? Hargeet, at 20 frames?
That's what they're asking for.
Come on.
That's what they want.
Maxi Coleman,
2060.
Thank you very much for the super chat. He says, I'm in Argentina. The only way I can play is because of the Series S and Game Pass. I want you, and you want me to have a lesser version. No, I don't want you to have a lesser version. I want you to have the version that we all have on time. I don't want you. This is the problem with the Series S. If you bought a Series S, okay, it's because of that price point, or like in your case, it was the only way you can get on an Xbox. Yep. Cool. But the problem with having parity there between the S and X, we're seeing the problems now. A lot of these demanding games are going to be delayed because, number one, they're going to develop for the PS5 always first because that is the market leader. That's always going to happen. And when they go to the porting process of going to the X and S, it takes more time for them to go to the X and then the S. It takes more time. And that is a problem. I think the parity thing was a bad mistake because it's taking more time now. These developers are already taking so much time with these games. Time is money for these developers. And you're telling them just spend more
first and then put it on Series S and X later. Fine.
So most Series X gamers probably wouldn't agree with you and say, no, it's fine to get games late. I highly doubt most Series X gamers would be fine with getting them late because the Series S is taking more time.
That's on the developers. Dude, like 99% of games make it. 99%. You're talking
Listen,
like 5 games have got a problem.
The gulf between the Xbox Series X and S is just going to get bigger. And it's going to get worse with the PlayStation 5 Pro. I think the best solution is to stagger the games on the Series S. I think for the optics, it's better. Then both the Series S and X owners lose out on it. Also, I think the end goal is really just make that machine a streaming box. You know, I didn't even realize how weak that GPU was until I actually found out what its AMD counterpart is, and that's a 5500 XT, which is weaker than a GTX 1660 Super, which is a little bit more powerful, the GPU in the Series S, than an RX 580. Okay, that's the type of graphics card that we're looking at with the Series S. So when people tell me, oh, the system is fine, I just laugh, because that's an anemic GPU, and they should not have had a 2 SKU strategy, because it's causing problems. And it's causing certain games to miss out on certain features because they have
that is all I'm saying
cost.
too.
And these are the facts. These are facts.
That's what I'm saying. It's like the more demanding these games are getting, the more delays we're seeing, and it's not fair to those who paid that upcharge of $200+ for this $500, $600 X. What about them? They got to wait because you've got this parity deal with the Series S, and these demanding games are having trouble.
Yes.
That is terrible. That is a bad business decision.
Then don't buy an Xbox. Don't be in the ecosystem. That's fair, but that's the way it is.
I don't think they foresaw this at the beginning. Highlander 001, thank you for being a member for 17 months. He said there will be no next gen Series S. Great show. There'll be the handheld, but I highly doubt that. I don't think they would do a parity between the handheld and the next gen console, would they? No.
Who knows, right? I don't know what
That'd
the heck
be
they're
horrible.
Do.
If
we don't even know what the handheld. Well, we don't even know if there is a handheld. We've assumed.
Yeah, that handheld could get canceled too. Who knows, man? Like the Microsoft of old, they kind of stuck to things. I think now they're just trying to figure out what's going to work. The only thing I know for certain that's happening is a true next generation console. It might be a hybrid, but like a traditional next gen console, they are gonna have that. That's what I know so far.
So Nerds and Other Legends, thank you for the $5. He says, I think having 2 SKUs was a bad idea, but if we have Wukong / other PC games on ROG Ally, Steam Deck, I don't understand why the Series S is a problem.
It isn't.
It's
it is.
What'd you say, D?
You just
It's a CPU and a graphics card.
Well,
the
CPU is the same as the freaking PS5. So you're telling me the PS5 is a
CPU? Way better than both of the console CPUs.
Yeah, but the CPU is the same as the freaking PS5. So what?
The CPU in the Series S is not the same. It's actually clocked a little different.
What do you mean it's not the same? It is the same.
Look at the clocks. The clocks are different.
It's 3.4 versus 3.4 versus 3.0 upscale to 3.5 on the PS5.
So it's not the same if they're different, right?
It's 3.4, then 3.6. So you're telling me 100 megahertz is the end all. That's it, right? So the 3.6
when a CPU is already anemic, yeah.
Okay, so then the 3.6 of the Series X should blow away. It's going to destroy the PS5. It's all over. Come on. Are you kidding me? Are we really?
I don't
doing
know what
this
to say
seriously?
here. We're in like year 4
God.
of these consoles, and like we have a host of videos showcasing their performance, and that alone speaks for itself. I don't know what to say, man.
I don't know what you guys are smoking. Honestly.
Well, you know what I'm smoking is the developers that are coming out with these games.
How many games are not coming to Xbox? Let me go to my Xbox stores. Looks like every game is coming.
Saying that Series S is becoming a challenge.
Oh my God,
that is the point. It's the Series S is becoming a challenge, Hargeet. I don't know why some of you in this community refuse to see that the Series S is a challenge when the developers themselves are saying it is. But don't believe them? I shouldn't believe them.
It's a challenge.
I shouldn't believe the Series S.
Fonz.
The Dune developer, he came out and said, we're actually gonna have to release the game on PC first, and then we're gonna release it on the console afterwards. And they want to release it on the consoles at the same time. They don't want to do it like a release for the PlayStation 5 and Xbox X and Series S. They want to do it for the same time. And they said one of the reasons for this is the Series S, and that is going to be challenging. When you look on, Hargeet, you'll understand this. You're on the PC right now. How do 8 GB cards on the PC do?
I don't know. They work depending on the game. You just cut down the features.
They struggle. At the bare minimum in 2024, you need to have at least 12 gigabytes.
Wait a minute,
of VRAM on your
but
GPU.
But Hargeet, you told me that Wukong would run on a 6 gig GPU.
That's what they're asking for.
There's no way Wukong's running on that 6 gig GPU though.
Okay,
even if they're asking for that.
Size, they're fucking asshole morons, and they don't know what
those
they're
minimum
talking about.
specs.
Go at them right now. Tell them you're wrong.
Okay, so what about the minimum spec on Wukong saying you can run it on a 6 gig GPU? D.
I didn't say this.
I know Game Science did.
It's
Game Science. I know. I heard you.
I don't see anyone out there running it on that GPU. Maybe if they want to get like 20 FPS.
That's what I said. 20 frames.
Yes, with everything stripped down and all the texture stripped down. Like I said on, I think it was Monday, Digital Foundry, I told you they took a 5500 XT, which is the equivalent to the Series S GPU, and they ran Wukong on it. And there was a lot of sacrifices that were made. So if you want to know the performance of how it would be on the Series S, and it didn't always hold that 30.
If it doesn't run the same as a 4090, are you not able to play the game?
What?
If it doesn't run as well as a 4090, are you not able to play the game?
Sure you can, but I'm sure you wouldn't want to play it on a freaking
time out. How about a 3070? If it
3070 is still superior to what's in the consoles, so yeah, you'd be fine.
2070.
2070 is where you start to run into problems, which is where the consoles are.
Okay, so what is the problem exactly?
Do we know what the parity is between the X and the S? Not just release date parity, but when it comes to features and stuff. Maybe some of those features are way too demanding for the Series S, and they've got to pare a lot more back than they want to, or that maybe even Xbox isn't willing to concede. Have you thought about that? Maybe Xbox won't allow it if it's not freaking good enough.
How many of the large games have skipped Xbox?
We had one big this year. We had Baldur's Gate 3 last year that was having issues because of the Series S. And now we got Dune Awakening stating, hey, challenging Series S is causing a...
I must go jump off a bridge.
Yeah, but
okay, Hargeet, that's still not good. That's 3 too many. And then the games that did make the Series S, hold on a second. The games that did make the Series S, there's a whole bunch that run like crap and look like garbage.
You guys
and are running at like a 720p soup resolution.
Wait. Hold up. Calm down. You don't understand, Hargeet. We're not the ones attacking developers or even people out there over this stuff.
I'm not
that is what your side has been doing. People that are defending these corporations have been doing that. Even attacking me for even saying, hey, Xbox, do better. Oh my God, how could you go at Xbox? These developers are liars. Bro, calm down. Like, seriously.
You're conflating different things. You said the Series S is a problem, and I'm saying, no, it's not.
It is.
That's my problem.
I agree.
I just think it's like a case of like denial, because like I heard when you were commenting and my mic wasn't working right, and you were saying, oh, well, if they don't want to bring their game, they don't want to bring their game there, then screw them. Who cares?
Oh my
God. And I gotta say that's not a great attitude to have.
No,
if the developer wants your game on your console, you shouldn't be saying, you know what, if you don't want to have it on it, that's like me having a store and saying, you know what, if you want to come into my store, that's fine.
Explain this.
If you don't want to come into my store, just go fuck
shut up for a second and explain the Switch. Explain the Switch.
It's like,
explain
I don't know, man.
the Switch. Shut everything else up.
Okay. Wukong isn't on the Switch. Dune Awakening won't be on the Switch because why? Limitations. Limitations. We're trying to tell you that the Series S has limitations. It has problems getting certain games on there, and these developers are telling you that, and you guys are like, I don't want to hear it.
Okay.
Nope, you're liars. It's like,
Hargeet,
what?
yes.
What are we doing?
Hargeet, would you say that a 1660 Super on PC has limitations? A lot of limitations? Severe limitations?
It's what it is.
Game hindering limitations?
is.
Games that you can't play
No.
on that card limitations?
There's a possibility, but you can probably scale everything back and it'll probably work.
So you could scale it back, pull all the layers back till it's just like a skeletal model with like, you know, half a texture, and then the other textures are loading in. And you know, we're back to the Sega days of the block characters from Virtual Fighter, right?
Oh my God.
Like that's not the way to do things.
So again, D, you're back to the point of like, nope, everybody better have a 4090. You better spend $5,000.
Nobody needs to have a 4090.
Perfect.
But you know what? If we didn't
Gotta
have a
have
Series
so much
S, we wouldn't be
memory.
having any issues because
Gotta
they would
have
only
a
have to
high-end
be worrying
CPU.
about the Series X and the PlayStation 5, which are both the same
I
relative
don't-
to power.
I don't understand why it's so like shocking to hear somebody say, "Well, I think the Series S was a mistake, and they should have had just a digital Series X." Like, to me, it would have been $100 more than the Series S, and it would have sold, but you wouldn't have these issues. You wouldn't have anything. We wouldn't be talking here about these games delaying. That's my point. Even if it's only 3, even if it was only one big game, it wouldn't be delayed. That's my point. That is my overall point. And the other point I was making is, why attack developers for saying there's a problem? Why? Why do we? Why are people doing this? Like that makes no sense.
For me, honestly,
Well,
when I hear a developer speak, unless they're like saying something like, you know, antisocial or something racist or something, you know, I have respect for what they say because I enjoy video games. It's a hobby. I have a YouTube channel. I own a lot of consoles. I own a lot of games. I've been gaming for like over 20 years. I've been gaming a long time. But these guys actually make the games that I play. So when they're saying they're having issues, it overrides anything that I feel or think because they are actually making games on these consoles. They're releasing the games on the consoles. They're getting all the feedback from their internal testings. Like, who are we to not believe them? And also, too, a developer like this, some people need to use common sense. A developer coming out and saying something like this, it would have to be true, or he'd be able to be held liable by Microsoft.
Oh, bullshit, dude.
So like
people lie all
gotta
the
look
time.
at all of these things
Get
as well.
over it, dude. What are you talking about?
Listen, this is the fact. The Series S is a freaking potato. Okay, it is a mistake. It is. And if you think things are gonna get better for the Series S,
you really are.
they're gonna get worse as games progress more. As more Unreal Engine 5 games come out, it's going to continue to be a problem, and eventually they're going to have to phase it out and just turn it into a cloud streaming box because it is anemic, man.
You gotta love it.
And listen, Hargeet, whatever you do for a living, I don't know. You're an analyst for investments. When you say something, I have no experience over you because that's what you actually do. These developers are making the games on the system. What logic tells you that they're full of shit and they just don't know how to work the Series S almost 4 years into the generation? We've been hearing this from the beginning of the generation that the system, the developers said, "Oh my God,
you
this is
guys
going to be bad."
are all
and we've
over the
seen
place,
game
right?
after game come out with stripped out features, stripped out
Good.
resolution,
So
running
what?
at 30 FPS with muddy frame rates, 720p,
Okay.
and guys like,
Wow,
this is
yeah.
fine. This is okay.
It is. It is.
It's okay.
That's
That's
the
why
difference.
Xbox is getting out
It is.
so poorly, right? Because it's great.
Danny,
So what is
I talked about that earlier. He sent another super chat saying, "Read my $5 super check your DM. Is game science lying?" About the whole double downing, Paul Tassi on that whole situation. We talked about that, and I think both things can be right. I think that there is possibly some issues there with that version, and Sony paid for them to get their version working, at least up and running, because it's not working well. I'm not going to say that, but it's running at least. I do believe that.
And that's another point of contention there. So we see that there's a lot of segments on the PlayStation 5 that the game is running poorly, right? How's that going to translate to the Xbox Series S?
Hold on a
People just
second.
need to,
You just glossed
use
over the
common
fact that it
sense.
sucks on a PS5. So why aren't you blaming the PS5? Why did they underspec? Why didn't they do better? Oh, it doesn't matter.
About? The PlayStation 5, they don't have two different consoles, so they were able to get it running on their console.
Yeah, they have a shit console to begin with.
In order to get your game running on their console, it has to be running on the Series X and S. If they're having issues with the Series S, guess what? The Series X version gets delayed. Guess what? PlayStation 5 benefits. They can run it on their system. It might not be the most optimal setting, but it's running and it's a top game and people are playing it and they're buying it. And Microsoft is losing out on this huge game once again, like they did last year with BG3. And that is a big deal at the end of the day, because if you care about the console war, it's all about the money and the sales. And this costs them money and costs them sales.
And why is that the console of the generation, though? Because of their exclusives, because of their first party. That is number one for them. That's it.
They do get third-party games.
Any little third-party game they get, or even big party game they get, is just a bonus for them. But their first party is what sold that thing and what continues to sell Nintendo.
They take the time to use the hardware.
Yeah, because they're Nintendo and they built the platform.
Yes.
Danny Passion Official, this what he was talking about. Why are we talking about this? Microsoft confirms Black Myth Wukong delay was not due to the Series S limitations. Yes, this is what Xbox was saying about the situation. And I'm not pinpointing the Series S exactly on this, but I am saying that listen, I said the problem. I said that their port, they could be having problems with that Xbox port, as well as PlayStation freaking paying for their port to get done, but not done well. Now, in my personal belief, if I think there's any problem with that game, it's probably due to a Series S limitation, probably due to that low memory pool, because when you boot it up on your 4090, it takes just about all that freaking 10 gigs that VRAM has on that.
That's turn features off.
Of course you can turn features off, but it's still very strenuous, though. Colt Classic Cage, thank you very much for the 2 says. Fonz on the money tonight. Thank you. Appreciate you. We've got, we read that one.
Kind of up on the mic.
No, you're good. You're good. AJH, thank you very much for the 2. He says, but my ally can play Wukong with frame gen with 8. Okay.
8 gigs.
8 gigs. Okay. So Colt Classic Cage, $2 says, these delayed games makes Xbox look like amateurs. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not the fact that just because they're delayed, it's when they're complaining about Xbox with the submission process, that's really a bad look.
That's an odd one. I'll say that's a weird one. Why the communication breakdowns, like that's kind of an odd thing, right? They should fix that. Fair enough. But yeah, as far as like the Series S thing, I'm not hearing that anymore. I'm done. I'm just done with that.
You're done with hearing facts about the Series S being more challenging to put a highly demanding game on.
I don't care if it's challenging, Fonz. Life is challenging. That's okay. It's your job to deal with challenges. That's not the thing that's going to be an excuse.
Of course,
that's just but
let me tell you something. But let me put it to you this way:
money is time. These guys don't want to waste time on the Series S when they can have it running on the X and PlayStation 5, easy peasy.
Okay, and that is the biggest issue because
publishers have decided that they're going to continue to put games on here, and they have managed to do it.
Okay, but here's the thing: when you have, if I come to you and your job and say I'm your boss, okay, and I give you more work than you expected. And it's going to take more time to do. Of course it is. Like,
why wouldn't you expect it?
Listen, okay. Let's say you. Okay, let's just say I decided to give you more work, and this is how you're going to work from now on, the rest of this year. Okay, it's going to take you more time to do your job in that work week, week after week. Same thing for these developers with the Series X and S. Why would they start a generation with that? Why would they say, hey, you're going to have to work harder to get it done on both consoles. I want parity. I want same features. I want this and that. Get it done. And where you have the other guys saying, hey, we have one SKU for you. Make your games easy peasy.
If it's that big a deal, then skip the platform. But I vehemently disagree.
But they don't want to totally skip the platform.
That's not a problem.
That's kind of talk I don't like. It's not about skipping the platform. It's about
exactly.
Getting the things working properly so you can have all of the games on your platform that it invites more gamers to your platform. That's the whole purpose of having a gaming platform, to have as much games as possible. And when your competition has one game, I don't care if it's half a game more. That's just not good. I want to have more than you or be on par with you. You can't be beating me. That's not a winning strategy.
Yeah, you know what?
There aren't games that skip platforms.
See, I think people are taking this way out of context. Max,
and when they do skip a platform, hold on a second, Fonz. I gotta address this, man. When it does skip a platform, when Final Fantasy skipped our platform, what did everybody say? Why is it not on Xbox?
Yes, people are still asking for it.
Crash and burn. And then now the game's coming to Xbox.
But
everybody's happy.
Fun
right?
at it. I think it's hilarious.
Don't talk this nonsense. Just skip the platform. No, it doesn't fit.
Max.
I don't know, man. The Series S is a problem, man, and you just can't ignore it.
I'm pretty sure Final Fantasy 16
the real solution here is to get rid of the stupid parity clause. If the developer needs more time to get it running on the Series S, allot them the more time and allow the game to come out on the Series X and the PlayStation 5.
But D, here's the problem though. You'll have people like Maxi Coman in the chat. Thank you very much for the super chat. He says, D, Fonz, you're being elitist. Because we don't like the parity there. And we don't like the fact that both of the games have to come out at the same time with the same features and stuff. Again, you're trying to make this console that really tries hard better than it actually is. Like, it's trying to push it too fucking far. Like these developers are telling you it's a challenge and it takes more time. And then when it doesn't come out, here's the problem though. When they don't make those release dates, you get these same guys that say, oh, I don't care. They should just keep parity. They're the same ones attacking the developers that don't put it out on time. That is wrong. That is freaking completely wrong. That's ridiculous. Yeah, you have to put in more work. Okay, we'll do that, but it's going to come out late. Fuck you, you're liars. What sense does that make? It makes zero sense. But this is the attitude a lot of Xbox gamers have. They do this time and time again, and it's got to stop, man. Stop blaming Xbox the developers,
gamer, right? So,
but
you have to think about this from a holistic perspective, right? If you have a platform, you have a platform. Was it hard to program for the PS3? Yeah, it was exceedingly difficult to do so.
And they suffered. They learned from that shit. And they didn't do that shit again. They made this freaking easy. They made it easy peasy.
I think Xbox is learning from the Series S too. I think they won't do this again.
Probably. But is it a fail that they have a lower end SKU that people can get into? That people in countries where it's very expensive to get into gaming can actually get into gaming? Like, that's a massive fail to you?
No, like, that part isn't fail. But the part that's fail is having parity with the Series X. Fail. The parity is a complete fail.
What do you think's going to happen?
I would never.
The parity is a complete fail.
What do you think's going to happen going forward as games get more demanding and require more? What do you think's going to happen? This is like worst case scenario. We can see a situation where games just skip Xbox and go to PlayStation 5 or PlayStation 5 Pro. Because now they have another outlet.
See, but why have that attitude where it's like, no, they did the right thing by having this console that can't do it, so F those games? Like, that is the attitude you're presenting.
Yes, 100% yes.
But it's not working, Hargeet. That's the problem. It's not working.
Horrible. That's
the Xbox consoles are sitting on the consoles and rotting right now. It's not working.
Let me get through these super chats. There's so many coming up. BT Maverick 707. Thank you very much. He says, we definitely have seen these indie devs try to push console wars to get attention as we did last year for that trash PS5 Quantum Error game. Look, yes, sometimes you'll see things happen sometimes, but this isn't one of them. We've seen other devs say this, and I know Zocker, by the way, Zocker was talking about this a year ago. He said he knows some developers, by the way, and they said that they had communication problems with Xbox. It's not anything new. This is something that's happening, and to call these developers liars is insane.
What's that team? The team that helps with technical issues, right? I can't remember the name of that team has been having issues as far as response.
Yeah. Jax82, thank you very much for the 5. He says, if third-party games keep skipping Xbox or getting delayed, I'm just going to play them on PlayStation. I'm done waiting. There you go. That's Absolutely. The problem with doing that, 100%
though. Do it.
But that's the problem with doing 100%. That. Why hurt your own platform?
By doing such thing, you're losing an Xbox gamer. You think just because he's one guy, that one guy multiplies to 10, 20, 30, 50, 100, 1,000, 4,000, 5,000. You don't want anybody leaving your platform in any business. You can't have that attitude, oh, just go then, bye. No, you try to fix the problem to get that person to stay. And in this situation, it's an easy fix. Just get rid of the parity clause, allow the game to come out. Maybe the game will just come out 3 weeks later on the Series S. Maybe they just need a month. Maybe they don't need 6 months. Maybe it never will. But allow that breathing room so the developer can, get the X and the PlayStation 5 version out the way, and then focus their efforts on the Series S. But when you got them on crunch time on that, like that, and you're not even the lead console platform, it's a problem.
Let it skip.
Yeah, I'll say this, Hargeet. You're the only one with that attitude that isn't going out. I have to say this because he doesn't chase the devs and attack the devs and stuff like that. That's not Hargeet. But other people do this that have that same mindset. And it's just weird to me. That part is weird. Raichi, thank you very much for the 2. He says, before we had the same game on Xbox and Game Boy Advance, is that what that is? GBA, what is that Game Boy Advance?
Maybe.
That's the only GBA I know of. Danny Passion Official, thank you very much. He says, I already read that one. I have a couple more. The Andrew 13 says, developers can optimize a game for hundreds or thousands of PCs. Hardware combos, but not 2 different SKUs. Yes. Here's the thing.
They don't have to have parity in all of those GPUs.
Yeah. There's no specific thing saying you have to.
And then
do
they have
this
a minimum
that.
too. They have a baseline.
Yeah, it's different. We got this one, Maxi. Oh no, I read that. We're fine. We're good. We're caught up. All right. Yeah. So, anyways, we're gonna agree to disagree on all this, of course, Hargeet. I you're still a brother. I have no issue with you whatsoever. But it's just. I used to see the Series S as being something that was kind of a brilliant plan. Oh yeah, it's a low entry fee to get to next gen. I don't see it that way anymore when you have more developers coming out of the woodwork saying there's problems here, or it's taking more time, and maybe we don't want to spend that time. We might skip your box. That's not fair to the Series X owners. It's not fair to the Series X owners at all. The parity is not fair. That's the way I see it. You're saying too bad. I say that's fucked up to the gamers.
I would never relent on a release on both. That's just not an option. So they have to release on both. There's just no way around that. You can't disrespect half the freaking population.
No.
That's just a stupid thing to do.
But should they have to release at the same time?
Yes,
that's my problem.
Right.
100%. 100%.
See, that to me is wrong.
Can't see how you get around
that. To me is wrong.
Well, then if that's the attitude that Microsoft and you're going to have, Hargeet, then this is not going to be the first time or the last time we're going to be talking about this. It's going to happen again.
I mean, I don't care to talk about this because I don't think this is a problem at all.
Well, it's going to continue to happen then.
It takes more time. And if that's a problem for developers, then maybe they shouldn't be developing games. Yeah. So that's that.
Now, let's move on. Let's talk about something that I'm sure we all can agree on here. Concord, Sony's brand new hero shooter IP that just released 2 weeks ago. We talked about it last week, and we said we were talking about why it was failing last week. Well, this week it finally completely failed. The game is dead. Yeah. The game is going offline on the 6th. And it's because Xbox doesn't communicate and the Series S. You're 100% right. No, for real. It's because, I don't even need to say. D-Batch. Why did they pull the plug on Concord?
I got to think that they're not just going to throw 8 years down the drain like this. I think they're going to try to wrap it up some other way. I thought this game, when I first saw it, I said, it's going to be like a good action adventure game, right? And then it's like, it's a live action, it's a live service game. I was like, oh crap, I lost all interest in it then. I know a lot of people, they didn't like some of the character designs. Some of the people didn't like the pronouns in it. It just had a whole host of issues. It just didn't captivate people. And when it came out, and everybody saw the Steam numbers, everyone started to kind of clown on the game, and it just died a quick death. I never in 1,000 years thought that this game would be wiped off so quickly. I don't think I've ever seen a game be wiped out so quickly. And I want developers to try new things, and I don't want them to get discouraged, because we can't always have the same type of things. But I don't know who was internally testing this game. They should have. I don't know, man. I don't know what they could have done differently. It's just a hard flop, man. It's a hard flop.
How about not charge $40 for the game? How about make it free to play? Use characters from your existing IP. Make it interesting for people. Those are some compelling characters that you have there. Don't do what you did with these set of characters. Like the way they put them together, somebody said it last week. It's like somebody had a prop box on stage and they all just put on different props. That's what it looked like. Those characters look so terrible. But it's honestly because the game itself doesn't do anything unique at all to the genre. It doesn't change anything. It's the same. It's basically like another Overwatch, and we already have Overwatch, and it's free. Like,
I was surprised they were charging for this. I thought it was going to be a free to play, and when I found out $40, I was like, wow.
Yeah, it made no sense. It made no sense. Hargeet, come on. I know you have something to say about Concord. You've been having that thing behind you all night.
Yeah, look, I mean, there's the first part of this is like, this is sad news. It is what it is, right? That like a developer spent 8 years optimizing for the Series S and failed to. I'm sorry.
Look at you, man. 200
spent
million,
8 years
bro.
making a game, and it unfortunately just didn't go anywhere. Sorry, what was that?
200 million.
Yeah, I don't know if that's inclusive of marketing or excluding. I don't know, but it was a lot. They lost a lot of money on it. But again, it's spread across 8 years, right? Or however much time Sony was spending money to make this game. I'm pretty sure they were funding the game before they bought the studio, and then bought the studio. And so I don't know how much that cost them as well. But either way, it is sad from that perspective, right? It's a game somebody put together, and it just didn't go anywhere. And it's a AAA big game, and it really just did not resonate. Now, there's plenty of potential reasons for that. You're going into a genre that really is kind of free to play. But you also have to look at it from Sony's perspective, right? Their main competitor bought the one thing that was driving their profits, which was Call of Duty. And yes, they have a 10-year deal, but they need PS Plus revenue, right? That's what keeps them afloat. And it allows them to continue to make their very high budget cinematic games. And when that 10-year deal lapses, let's say Phil's retiring or not there anymore, right? Phil's a nice dude. He probably wouldn't do anything. But like you were saying, scummy platform practices, right? Those kind of things could absolutely happen. So after the 10 years are up, whoever's running Xbox might say, well, you know what? We're going to have like exclusive content for Game Pass subscribers for Call of Duty, right? We'll still give you the game, but I'm going to take a few things, just like PlayStation was doing to everybody else, right? They might just decide to do those little things. And what Jim Ryan was saying is like, if they do anything like that, we're screwed, right? So you have to look at it from their perspective. They were trying to replace that to say, we got to have something else that'll continue to keep PS Plus going. So you say it should be free to play. Well, the only reason you would have that is as a paid game is that it requires PS Plus. And that would not be a thing that they achieve if they gave you the game, right, for free to play. So it's just one of the headaches they have to deal with, right? But I still agree. I think that was the next step. Before you lose 200 million, you do some, put it in PS Plus Extra, do something. PS
that's
PS
what
Plus,
I was thinking.
Try it. Anything, right? And just keep it alive. But they pull the plug. And it's at this point, I'm like, okay, wait, you
refunded
the game.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
this isn't going back, is it?
Sony, no.
Like,
no, it's not.
That.
Yeah,
you would keep the telemetry coming. You would keep the metrics going. You would find ways to get more people in by saying, hey, we're going to, in 2 months or 1 month, we're going to switch it to a battle pass mode. And, we'll have a new mode come up that is a free to play and then gradually switch over, right? But they instead just shut it down. I'm like, oh, wow, 2 weeks. They didn't even give it 2 weeks.
Hey, I've got to say this. Was it last week when we were talking about it, Albert G? Shout out to Albert G if you're in the chat. He told me last week that within 6 months' time, Concord was going to be a hit. Where are you now, Albert G? Where are you?
Yikes.
But here's the thing.
Yeah, I can make fun of it. I can totally make fun of it, right? Because all the shit that people give Xbox for every single release, now we have this to lot over it and say, okay, Pony, but what about that Concord?
Yeah, I get the whole like console worry thing. I get the jokes and stuff, but at the end of the day, it sucks that a game fails. Yeah, I never want to see a game fail. But here's the thing. They pulled the plug on this, and I've seen some people around saying, well, maybe they'll bring it back. Maybe they're going to retool it. No,
I don't know, man.
Because here's the problem with that. Because in order to retool this game to get it out there, number one, they would have to come out free to play. Okay, first of all. Second, they would have to redesign the characters, which would cost them a lot of money to do. They would have to redesign characters or import some of their own, whatever. It still costs a lot of money, and they have to operate those servers, and that's costly. And why would they open this up free to play, a game that already died once, to take a chance? Like, no, that's not a chance to take. And I've seen somebody say that, oh, this sets a precedence because now people aren't going to be taking any chances. Companies are. No, they didn't take a chance with this. The only chance they took was trying to put out a game that wasn't unique at all, that was doing exactly the same thing everybody else was doing for $40. That was the chance they took, and that was a dumb freaking move. The smart move would have been to at least make it free to play right off the bat and put it in your sub service. Those two things would have helped out.
I think if they retool it, they can't bring it back in the same form for sure.
No,
they would have to bring it back because they got a lot of assets in there. They got a lot of level designs. They'd have to bring it back like some type of single player experience and then tack that on. That's the only way they can bring it back. And for them canceling it, those numbers had to be dropping like crazy.
Dude, they only sold 25,000 copies. They just said, screw this. 25,000. How many games? Do you remember when the Sony guys were making fun of that one indie game that only sold 100,000 units on Xbox?
Oh, Hypercharge?
Hypercharge.
Was it Hypercharge?
Hypercharge. Yeah. They were making fun of that.
Indie, that's awesome.
They were like, it only sold 100K. It only sold 100. Concord sold freaking 25K, and that thing was a AAA game. Nice one. Nice one. Now, Sony didn't take a chance with that. Taking a chance, honestly, would have been trying to do something unique with the genre, trying to push something brand new. They could have even pulled old IP out of the woodwork, and it would have done better. Stuff like SOCOM. SOCOM would have done way better. And this leads me to an interesting point, though. The last topic we're going to discuss here, because I need to get out of here soon. Hiroki Totoki said today that there's not enough IP out there for Sony to grow, basically. They said they have a lot of existing IP that got a lot of success with, but in order to have real growth, they need more new IP. And one of the things he said, I got the quote here, says, whether it's games, films, or anime, we don't have that much IP that we fostered from the beginning. We are lacking that early access phase of IP. That is an issue for us. He says, Sony had been successful with finding new audiences for existing IP, but feels that they will be unable to see growth unless it creates new content from scratch to ensure higher returns. So one of the things here, Hargeet, before I say this, I've seen a lot of people pointing out like old IP, bring this back, bring that back. You got this, you got that. You can attract. Those won't attract new subscribers that he's talking about. Those will only appease those that they already have. He addressed that there. He's basically telling you, yeah, we have a lot of IP and we've got all these subscribers, but they want new people to join the Sony cult. They want new people. Exactly. So, I mean, what do you think about all this?
Yeah, look, one thing I just did this, talked about this on Booms, is if you look at these IPs, right, and you say, something from 10, 15, 20 years ago, that might resonate with an older audience, like us, right? But like the next generation sees that as mom and dad stuff, not my stuff, right? So they don't want to latch on to something that we are interested in. They want their stuff. And so you have to keep creating new things. You have to entice people to come into this new thing that they will grow up with, right? And they'll be enthusiastic about for the next 30, 40 years, right? That's the way it goes. And so
Concord ain't it. Concord ain't it. That's not the one. It's gone. It's done.
Yeah, that's a whole other story.
Although Colt, you know what he told me? When Concord first came out in a beta, he was playing it. This is what he told me. I recorded this.
Oh man, that thing is massively huge.
That's what he told me about Concord. He was excited playing that game. He was having so much fun. Go ahead.
Yeah, right. Anyway, so the other thing is this is not specific to gaming. We have to keep reminding ourselves this is Sony, right? And their new vision is to do, they're kind of migrating away from consumer electronics into an entertainment company. And this is their vision. That's what they're detailing out. And in that, they want to have movies, TV, anime, and gaming, right? It's not just about gaming. That is one major part, right? So when he's saying, I need new IP, they want anime, they want TV shows, they want movies to go after as well, right? That also could be games that translate to all of that, and vice versa, right? That's what they're looking at. They need new stuff that they can keep getting more customers, grow, right? And that's what he's talking about. I think that's a better place to be. Actually, I think it's a good thing for them to do that.
Oh yeah,
and
sure.
I think that they've been trying to do smaller games with their bigger teams, right? Saying, hey, why don't you splinter off and make something new? And so we'll see what happens with that. I think Naughty Dog had something in the works, and Santa Monica had something in the works. I don't know if others are doing the same thing, but there's been like smaller teams doing a smaller game. That's where you can experiment and try to come up with something new, and hopefully they do get something there. But I also think they're looking at it from a TV and video content perspective. They also have music, right? I think this is kind of what they're looking at, is how do we expand that IP such that we have a new customer coming in and new generations attached to IP that we own.
Exactly.
That's what they're looking to do.
100%.
And I totally agree. I think that's absolutely the right path. You certainly don't want to just say, hey, all we're ever going to do is God of War and Ghostbusters, right?
No.
You need to have new stuff. You need to bring in new customers.
Ghostbusters.
The Ghostbusters movies, I'm sure they own that, right? I'm pretty sure they own Ghostbusters.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You're talking about the movies as well, because Hiroki was, yeah. Go ahead.
Exactly, right? And so you can keep making those, and maybe like people like us, like, oh, Ghostbusters, I remember that when I was a kid. That's cool, and we might go watch it, but that may not bring in the new audience, right? So you got to create something new that people will latch onto, right? So unless it's a very recognized, like a Spider-Man, you need to have something that you can, bring in new audiences. I fully agree with the vision. It makes sense. I'm actually kind of curious what it means as far as this pivot from consumer electronics into the entertainment, area. How does that play out in the long run? But that'll be interesting times. We'll see what they do.
I think it's just another avenue of revenue. It's just another way to get some revenue going.
I think they're looking at the success of like The Last of Us and stuff like that, seeing how they can bring their IPs over to like the movies, to the small screen. I think Sony should attack the areas where they're weak at, where they don't have a lot of
get up on the mic, D.
First-person shooters, a lot of multiplayer.
Yeah, you keep cutting out, bro.
That's where they could grow their audience. And I also wonder what their thoughts going forward internally are, because they saw the failure of Concord. What's going on now with Bungie? Because they made all those cuts at Bungie, all the restructuring at Bungie, and what's going to happen with Marathon now? Man, it's crazy times.
That is a whole other thing, right? Like their upcoming slate of live games, they still have Fair Games, Marathon. There's supposedly something from Bend that's going to be a multiplayer thing or a live game, and then they have a Horizon live game from Guerrilla. I don't know what the status of those are, but we will find out. I don't know if there's more. There might be other ones as well, but they've had a pretty bad streak with their live games.
They did.
I think Sony's best served, like, if they want to do some type of live game, do it like a hybrid. Tack it onto your single player games.
Well, what do you think about? I've heard some Sony guys in the community like really stressing hard that they don't want them to continue to make multiplayer games. They want them to just stay true to their single player games, and those are the bread and butter of Sony. What would you say to those guys?
Well, Sony's saying in their own words that they want to grow. So if you want them to grow, they can't stay with the status quo. They gotta branch out. And they got to reach new audiences. Like if you're happy and satisfied with what Sony's delivering, they're still going to deliver you those single player experiences. They're still going to give you the stuff that you've become accustomed to with the PlayStation. They've been doing it for generations. but they need to grow, and the market is changing, and and the console market is changing. It's growing still, but it's not growing as big as it could grow. And you got PC market that's growing. Like my 6-year-old kid, I took a video of him yesterday. This kid playing with a keyboard and mouse. Like it's a completely different generation.
You
gotta get them all in.
Yeah, you keep coming you're drifting. Your mic is like far away.
Oh,
and
can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right, my bad.
But yeah, I heard what you said there. Really quick, let me get these last few super chats. Denny Passion Official with a 5 says, one thing is right. Developers won't skip Xbox forever. Xbox is bigger than we think. If Xbox would have 100K consoles out there, it would be a different story. I think Xbox is going to be, I think they will, this may be like controversial for some of you, but I think Xbox will lose more games in the future. However, they will have such a massive amount of their own games that they'll be putting out third party that they're going to be huge. Xbox, that's why all the Xbox is dying thing is so stupid to me, because they're only getting bigger. They're only making more money. The only thing that, I complain about is their console itself. It's like, I want them to do better there for the people that really want their console. It makes sense to do better there. But again, they're focused on this third party stuff, and they're going to be a huge they already are a huge publisher.
Yeah, they're massive. Look, as far as like PlayStation 4 going live games, it's hard to look at those live games that do work and see the revenue and say we don't want a piece of that. As one of the large publishers out there, they will want it. It's just the way it is, right? So it's hard to say no to that. On the flip side, it's hard to do as well, right? They've had one success so far that they screwed up, Helldivers 2. That they screwed up by trying to introduce the PSN thing, and even though they rescinded it, they still have blocked it from like most of the world, right?
And then Arrowhead just ruined their own game for people as well. They just took a crap on it.
How about Arrowhead?
Well, they decided to retool the game and rebalance it, they said, but they totally killed the joy and fun out of it for a lot of people, and they quit. And
we'll see if Space Marine 2 kind of takes over, because it probably will. It's looking like it's a pretty good one as well. But look, so I don't know that they can give up on it. They're going to try to do something. You have to do what Xbox did, though, and try to buy something that will stick. Unfortunately, it's hard. Like they tried it with Bungie, and unfortunately, they were on the downward trend for Destiny, and it kind of fizzled. So that's kind of where they are, and their next game, Marathon, isn't looking like it's doing that well either. There's development issues. The lead director was fired for other issues, right?
That's right. That's recently.
So there's just a lot of turmoil there. I don't know what's going on. Sony's trying to take over, and I don't know what they're going to do with that. Bungie could be like,
you know what I think is going to happen? Seriously, you know my thing? I think that they're going to be absolved into other studios. I think they're going to take their best talent and then get rid of the rest. Eventually, that's what's going to happen with Bungie. They're already taking over. They've already taken over and overseeing every project, and basically even took projects from Bungie. Straight up took projects.
Nerfed.
That's great. You know what? Bungie,
they were a force back in the day, remember?
It's crazy how far they've fallen from grace. So I don't want to say they're a bad development team, because although I don't like Destiny,
I'll say it now. They're a bad development team now.
The gameplay is really good, right? But if they get absolved by Sony, like, what a way to go out, man. That's just terrible.
Yeah, it would suck.
Sucks, right?
For people that love Bungie. I loved old Bungie.
Hopefully they can find somebody else. That's not like they're at the start, and it looks like they will accelerate upwards, and they can get it for a good enough price, and they can expand on that and have their revenue. I don't know what's going to happen as far as them with their current games going forward. They're saying fair games, internal testing is good, but we heard the same thing with Concord. So,
by the way, real quick, Helldivers 2, current amount of players, which isn't terrible, but it isn't good, 17,000. And remember, but here's the thing, though.
It used to be
every week I've noticed it went down a few thousand. Every week, the average players are going down. I mean, just a couple of weeks ago, it was like at 30,000+.
Yeah.
So
to be fair, it's been out for a minute though now. So I
true, but
I think it was a relative success, and it would have been bigger, but they put their damn foot in their mouth.
But D-Batch. The thing is like, so has Fortnite. Fortnite's been out there for many, many years, and look at the juggernaut it still is. COD. Every year these games do freaking well.
See, there's just some games that are just an anomaly, and like Sony, Microsoft, they're trying to catch that lightning in a bottle, but just some things are just organic, man. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Well, if you look at what Microsoft did so far, it has been okay, right? Minecraft, they bought that. That's been expanding. It's been good. They bought ABK that has several live games. Sea of Thieves, out of nowhere, right? They didn't think it was going to do anything. Out of nowhere, it turned out okay. State of Decay still gets played, right? It looks like maybe that's going to be finishing up this year, and it might be coming next year. State of Decay 3 might be coming next year. But they seem to get it. And are there ones that fail? Bleeding Edge, for instance. That was the game, right?
It lasts longer than Concord, though.
It did better than Concord.
And I think more players played it
Redfall
as well.
has more users than Concord.
Oh, God.
That's true.
It's still being played right now. Yeah, I'm sure there's a few.
That was a live game that failed, right? But I mean, there are some that continue on, right? It is what it is, right? They have some that are good. So,
let me get this. Maxi Coleman says, so I have to wait because I paid less than you on Series X user. Guess what? Series S is 800 USD in Argentina. How about that?
Wow.
How about that, D? If he had to wait because parity wasn't there, is that fair to him? Because he didn't go all out and buy that Series X?
There's two sides to the coin in this argument. Like I understand, Series S owners, of course, and to be fair, the Series S owners outnumber the Series X owners by a lot. So I get it.
Yeah.
But the Series S owners shouldn't really be expecting the same things out of their games as the Series X. And Microsoft has kind of mandated that they kind of do, right? And I think therein lies the problem.
Well, I think it's basic mechanics, features, and release date.
Yeah, they just want the game to be the same game, but it can scale back, on as far as graphics, as far as like, fidelity features, right? So like particle effects and whatnot. Fine, like cut it down. It's fine. It's okay.
I get it, but at the same time, I think Series S owners, I get it. I get the argument. I get why you'd be annoyed by it, but at the same time, Series X suffers for it. And if it could come out on the Series X, why not? Let it come out on the Series X, because it's going to be delayed on your Series S anyways, because it can't run on there yet. They can't get it up and running. They already have it on the Series X. Why not let it run on the Series X?
Well, no, one of the things I will agree
Series S
is
going to
that
get it when it gets it anyways, right? So it's kind of a selfish play, and I think it's bad optics on Microsoft's part, because the game's going to be delayed one way or another. So at least just delay it for the one if it can run on the other, right?
Nah, but like I will agree that the Series X may not get as much optimization, because they definitely have to optimize for a Series S first, right, to get it working, and then they usually just scale up and say, well, whatever the Series X will take, we'll just let it go, right? And that way they don't have to tailor it.
Series S, I think the intention of the Series S was good. I think
the
price point was really cool, and we all thought that it would be capable of running the way they advertised it to us. In the beginning, we didn't listen to the developers, the actual guys that make the games, where they were saying, hey, we're going to have some issues with some of the memory that's in the system. Just like, and we ignored all of that. And I think we're at the point where we're at right now. And I think the only there's two solutions. One is viable. The other one, I don't know if they would ever do it. But one is just, let it come on the Series S when it's able to run the Series S, or allow the Series S owners, while they wait upon the game, to play a cloud version of the game.
I
don't know about that either, but this Prime Series thing is true. There is a Concord thing.
Yeah, Will Broke Boy Lewis, thank you very much, Broke Boy, for the $1.99. He says, doesn't Concord have an episode on that Prime Series? What is he talking about on the Prime Series? What Prime
Secret
Series?
Level, I think, something like that. It was
Prime Series, like
it's
Amazon
a show
Prime
that yes, it is. So it's from the folks, I think is it Blur, that does a lot of the game cutscene stuff. right? And they're putting together sort of a mini thing of of a whole bunch of different games, putting it together as a show. I think it's called Secret Levels. I think that's what it's called. And one of them is Concord.
Dude, I'm so out of it because, I mean, maybe some of you think this is weird, but I don't have cable or anything, and I haven't had it for 19 years exactly. I cut the cord 19 years ago, and I don't watch like a lot of this stuff, and I don't have Prime. Well, I do have Prime, but I don't watch it. Like I don't use it. I just have Amazon Prime. But yeah,
here's what the
I
thing
don't like
says.
a lot of those shows.
Secret Level is an anthology series on Amazon Prime Video. It features 15 episodes of original short stories set in the worlds of classic video games. So that's what it's going to do. But there's games like Dungeons and Dragons, Armored Core, Spelunky, Pac-Man.
Yeah,
Outer Worlds will be one of them. Concord will be one of them.
Yeah,
Primo. In the episode of Concord, everyone gets murked.
Primo, I misspoke. I was talking about cable at first, but I was like, oh no, that's a streaming service, but I don't use it. I just use Amazon Prime for packages,
for shipping.
So
yeah,
the shipping
so
deals.
you have it if you ever want to watch it. It's there. You can take it. Take a look.
Well, you don't watch much TV either, Hargeet. Like I know you're not a big. It's I watch more YouTube.
Like opening night live. I think that's when they announced this. I think it was an ONL.
I watch a lot of like small creators on YouTube and stuff. That's like most of my day is like YouTube watching or playing games or being with my kids. And
Same.
TV is just
I watch a lot of YouTube. I watch some IPTV, but I also watch a lot of YouTube.
Oh, I have IPTV, but I have like the free version where I could get the pay-per-views, but that's it. Like for the fights and games and stuff, that's all I use it for. Anyways, I think I had no, that was it. Anyways, that was the last topic. I need to get out of here, and I know it's been over 2 hours now. I had a lot of fun tonight, and you know what? Despite you guys see us arguing and getting into it, I love it. This is why I brought Hargeet onto the show.
Yes.
Not only is
fun.
Not only is he a good friend, but he's somebody I know doesn't agree with me. Not all the time. We agree on some things. We do. But
everything you have.
But it's like there's certain things we don't. And I think it's more fun to do a show like this than freaking, yes, you're right, Argy. Yeah, you're right, Fonz. Yeah, D, you're great. Exactly. Yeah, I don't know. I had a blast. Anyways.
Hopefully people enjoyed that.
And I'm sure they will. They'll
clip
both of us. They'll clip both of us and all three of us and talk crap about all of us. Yeah, it's going to happen. Whatever. D-Batch. D-Batch. I know. D-Batch, let everybody know where they can find you, brother. Thank you very much for coming tonight. I know you had a lot of issues trying to even get here because of kids. I get it, 100%. But you were here. You were great. Let everybody know where they can find you, brother.
You can find me on X at D_batch or just D-Batch. And you can find me on YouTube at D-Batch. I should have some content up this week. So many games coming out this week. I'm ecstatic that 2K25 is next gen on PC. I'm a little upset that Space Marine 2 is not in Game Pass, but I bought it for a PC, so whatever. I'll be playing it on Tuesday. Listen, this game season is going to be crazy. Like all summer, I pretty much didn't touch games. I didn't touch YouTube. I was just outdoors. Like the second week in August, everything just started to heat up, and like, man, we're gonna have games coming in hot. It's gonna be a great season to talk about gaming and just the game. So I'm excited to get the season going, man. It was great doing the show with you guys. And yes, and although we disagree, once the debate is over and we're moved on to the topics, that's it. It's a forgotten thing. And take note, gamers, it's not that serious. It's all about gaming, and gaming's supposed to be fun. Exactly. We can disagree, but we're all in one forum. We disagree to agree sometimes, and then we move on and play games and just enjoy ourselves. So let that be a lesson to you guys.
D-Batch, Sebastian Cooper in the chat thinks you look like the second coming in your avatar. He said, where can he get your Jesus icon? That's so funny. Man. Hargeet, let everybody know where they can find you, your channel, your book, all that good stuff.
Yeah. We can actually put that up, but not that it matters. Yeah, if you want to check out my channel, it's Hargeet and I on YouTube. And if you want to check out my book, it's shop.johnny.us. You can pick it up there if you want. And yeah, we'll do the funeral rites. Actually, I think Infinite Number actually asked me to come on to his show tomorrow. We'll see. But hopefully I'm available, so I'll try to go to his show. And then Friday we'll do the funeral rites for Concord on C Money's show. So we'll see how that goes. We'll enjoy the heck out of that. Yeah, as far as games, guys, we also just got like Age of Mythology just came out. I think it's like an 83 or something like that. So that looks good. Ace Attorney Investigations, that's looking pretty good. I don't know if people even care about it, but that's coming out this week. Harry Potter, the Quidditch game, I don't know if that's any good. I haven't seen any ratings, but like maybe that's something people can. So this game's coming all like this week alone, right? And then Astro, is that coming this week? I think
Astro
right?
Box Friday
this week. Yeah, so look, this game's galore. Go play games. This is it this month. Zelda comes out too. It's like there's all sorts of stuff coming in. It's gonna be great.
You play Space Marines now if you do the gold edition and you get 4 days early access.
Yeah, you get the early access. Yeah, nice.
By the way, people, hit that like button on your way out because I hardly ever ask, but I did twice this show. Can't believe it. For once, I would appreciate it. Anyways, play some games, play some good games. Damn it! Don't play Star Wars Outlaws. It sucks. With that said, have a good one. Until next week. Game on.